Good evening. Welcome to the latest live edition of Last Ball Boxing. Joined as ever by Ander. Good evening, Ander.
Hi, pal.
All good. And Daz. Good evening, Daz.
You all right, mate?
All good. So proudly sponsored today by LW Liftings Limited and SC Travel. Let's get straight into it. So, as ever, I'll hand over to Andy, who's going to talk us through the Chris Smith card and some of the undercard. But we will get onto the Sonny Edwards card later in the show. Ander, over to you.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with the results from last weekend, and as Carl's just said, we'll go on to the American card, which looks quite good, by the way, and everything's a UK versus USA fight, which makes it a little bit spicier, but we'll get onto that shortly. So straight in with it on the Chris Smith card from Bournemouth on Sunday night. We'll start at the bottom of the card. Francesca Enese got a pretty convincing points decision. There's not a massive amount we can say about this. She's still learning, mate. But very confident young girl. Carl.
She should be, shouldn't she? She's getting the right old promotional push, in my view. At this stage, I think she's just doing what she needs to do. There's not a lot you can say.
Yeah.
She's being handpicked opponents for her development, which is probably the right thing to do. But I'll keep my powder dry until she jumps in with someone of note.
Fair enough. Daz, I'm guessing you're thinking similar lines.
Yeah. You know, I quite like her, to be fair. But I don't know. She's got a style, quite a relaxed style sort of thing, and she seems like a really nice girl as well.
Yeah.
So, I quite like watching her. To be fair, she's quite entertaining. So I hope she's one of them. I hope that the substance is going to be as much as the style, if you know what I mean. So I hope she does well.
Only time's going to tell, mate.
Or the hype. Let's hope she's as good as the hype.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, she was a decent amateur as well. But there's a world of difference between professional boxing and amateur boxing.
Indeed.
That's good, yeah.
Moving swiftly on then, lads. The amateurs, as we were talking about, Sensation, Lauren Price, beat Sylvia Bortot in a very one-sided fight. The interesting dynamic on this was Sylvia Bortot was one of Michaela Mayer's last opponents, and she struggled a little bit with her. So the question is, how impressed was you? And is it about time she had a massive step up? She's obviously calling out the winner of that fight coming up in February, I think.
Against Jonas
against Mayer. She's wanting the winner of that fight. Firstly, I'll come to you, Daz. Is she ready for that? And if she isn't ready for that, who does she need to be going in with to test her? Because she's not getting tested at the minute.
No, I think she's ready, mate. I think she's ready. She wants that. She's an Olympic gold medalist, I believe. Listen, do you know what? I don't think she's got out of first gear yet as a professional. Very, very skillful, and it was pointed out on commentary as well. A fighting style doesn't belie her physique because she's an absolute.
Daz, what does she bring to the table commercially, Daz? If you're Jonas or Mayer, why
to be honest, mate? To be honest,
right?
No, yeah. To be honest, mate, she's. I don't know. Listen. I don't know the girl, but she seems again like a really nice girl, but she's not very. How can I put it in a polite way? A bit boring, maybe. But I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, just as a boxer in the persona sort of thing.
She's very focused, isn't she?
Yeah, listen.
I think boring's the right word. I think she needs to do a bit around outside the ring about, PR, and sometimes you've got to be a bit controversial.
I mean, let's be right. Let's be right though. In Lauren Price's defence, you shouldn't have to do that because the girl
No,
can
but
fight.
you do, Dad, don't you? We know that. You do.
Yeah, but you do. Yeah, of course you do. But you shouldn't have to.
No, you shouldn't have to. You're right.
You shouldn't have to. The girl's talented. She's,
She is.
she can fight. She's a very good boxer.
I'm just worried she's one of them fighters, though, Dad, who've got all the talent in the world but can't talk the way into big fights.
She shouldn't, like Daz has just said, though, Carl, with a pedigree, she shouldn't need to do that. A talking can be done in the ring. It's down to her promoter to believe in her. That's all.
That's my point. So, where's Ben Shalom on all this?
Well, I mean,
he has Natasha Jonas signed to a contract.
It should be easy.
Exactly. It should be easy.
Yeah.
Let's see whether it happens then, because I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, is he going to want to send another route? Is he going to want to maybe try and? I mean, listen, for all we're talking Lauren Price, Jonas, and all that, we've still got Sandy Ryan in mix as well.
Yeah.
She's still there. I mean, I believe Terry Harper's moving down as well to welterweight at some point.
It's very interesting, mate. There's lots of massive fights to be made there, isn't there?
Yeah, but regarding Lauren Price, yeah, I think she's more than ready for anyone. Listen, I'm not saying. To be honest, I think she's a nightmare for everyone, but I'm not sure she beat Sandy Ryan. But
she needs to build a profile, though, Daz.
She does. But
more that's been done with her on the back of that Olympics.
Yeah, but obviously that's obviously Ben Shalom's job.
But it all feeds in, don't it? It all feeds into whether she can get in the big fights or not.
Yeah, I mean, she should be getting them on her ability, but that's not the way the world of boxing works.
But one thing we haven't really thought about here, lads, is how many other female fighters come out brash and are calling people out. The only one I can think of is Clarissa Shields. No one else does it. I mean, and everyone else is getting world title fights, so why shouldn't she?
Let's be fair. What Clarissa Shields does is borderline like she's on the verge of cracking up.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about that in a bit, Daz. We've got some boxing news later on. We'll talk about Shields in a bit more detail. But you're right.
I mean, the thing is, if Lauren comes out and says, starts belittling Tasha and this, that, other, and or anyone, and saying, listen, you're all scared to fight me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I don't know. I mean, listen, you guys know I'm not a fan of all that trash talk. And like I say, I live with blinkers on with where boxing's concerned. I just wish that fights were made on people
on merit.
Yeah, and on merit. But she does. Do you know what I think it is with Lauren Price? She does seem like she's very hard work, and like she's probably not a talker. You know what I mean? And I tell you who else is like that as well. Who I get that vibe from Moses Italma.
Yeah.
Very.
He's getting better though.
Yeah, same as Daniel Dubois was like that.
Yeah.
Joe Joyce was like that.
The thing is, if it's not in your nature, you can't force it because then it looks unnatural, and people will think it's all made, or So what's the point? Just be yourself.
Sam Jones did the majority of talking for Joe Joyce, didn't he? For years.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what a manager and a promoter is for, Carl, and that's what I mean. You're not always going to get it, and like Daz has just said. Would you want it every single fighter doing the same thing, calling out everybody?
But not all of them need to do it, But Lauren Price does need to do it because she's going to end up in the Who Needs Them club.
But if she listen, I think what she needs, apart from this talking, which I think comes second to what I'm going to say. Ben Shalom needs to get her the fights to get her in mandatory
Well, you know my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, he needs to. Ben Shalom needs to get her the fights, get her into mandatory positions, and then she can be a mute if she wants. She don't have to say anything.
No,
that brings me back to the point I made originally. If she isn't going to get Jonas or Maya next, then who should it be, Daz?
I mean, if she doesn't get the winner of Jonas,
take the loser.
Maybe get the loser.
I think that's more achievable.
Maybe
because they've got less options, haven't they? The one who loses that fight has got less options.
Yeah, makes sense.
Listen,
good point.
I mean, if the rematch can happen for Sunday, push for Lauren v. McCaskill. Do you know what I mean? I mean, to be fair, mate, I'd pick her all day long over McCaskill.
Yeah,
all day long. And as much as I think it'd be very unfair to
Sandy Ryan,
you know, boxing's boxing. I tell you another good shot as well. Why not? Why not? If Terry Harper's on about coming down, which she said in her last interview, she was. Why not make a final eliminator between Harper and Lauren Price?
Needs a statement fight, don't she? A coming out fight. That's what she needs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, either one of them. I mean, McCaskill, obviously, for world titles. You've got Terry Harper.
Terry Harper's not coming down to welterweight for anything other than a world title fight now, mate.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, have we got any vacant titles floating about that we can chuck at it? I mean,
no, I don't think so.
No, such is the state of boxing. No, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a...
If puts enough money up, Daz, he can get anyone in the ring, right? Because if the money makes sense in the fight.
Of course it does. You'd think so,
mate.
Is
he backing him or what?
Is what, sorry?
Is he backing her or what?
Well, he promotes her, so he should be.
Of course he's backing her. He's paid her an absolute fortune to get her on his promotion and on Sky Sports, mate.
Is it a fortune?
Of course it is.
Is it?
Well, you can't tell me that Eddie Hearn wanted to try together.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Do we know
that? Of course. God, come on. Olympic gold medalist. You think he's not going to try and...
I'm not sure what a commercial value is. If Eddie Hearn would have wanted, they got her.
I mean, to be totally honest, right? I'll be straight with you. I'd rather listen to Lauren Price than Sky Nicholson. Because
I'd rather watch Lauren Price than Sky Nicholson.
Yeah, because Lauren Price is straight to the point. She doesn't talk any waffle. You know, it's serious business. And
who's got the bigger profile, even in the UK?
Well, shockingly, Sky Nicholson.
So who's doing the best job out of the two promoters?
Well, it's Eddie Hearn does the better job anyway. We all know that.
Yeah. I just wonder what Shalom's plan is with Lauren Price.
I mean, let's be fair, mate. I don't know Ben Shalom, but don't seem like a boxing man to me. It seems like somebody who's been put there as the face of.
And we can't keep saying he's new to the game. He's new to the game because he's not now, is he?
No, he's not. Let's be fair. Eddie Hearn's been brought up around this game.
Yeah.
You know, not just this game. He's been brought up around his dad, Barry, who had his hands in everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, Eddie Hearn knows, you know, he knows what he's doing.
Good evening, Niall O'Connor, by the way.
He's by far the premier promoter. You know, there's no two ways about it. But I don't know, mate. It just makes me wonder with such as boxer and stuff like that. You know, is it? Would you want them to sign you as a fighter? Would you? You know, I know it's a big platform, Sky, but if you're not getting the fights, they seem to not be able to deliver as much as what.
I've made that point numerous times that I judge Ben Shalom on his delivery of fights, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure Sky executives are a little bit underwhelmed as well.
Yeah, you'd think so.
We'll see in the next couple of years. You know, there's another promoter in the UK snapping at their heels in GBM, so we'll see what goes on, mate. Moving swiftly on then, because I'm conscious we need to get through this if we want to get onto the more important chat of Bam against Sonny. So Ben Whittaker against Stivan Dredaj, I think you pronounce it. I mean, Ben Whittaker's an enigma. We've spoke about this a million and one times. You love him or you hate him. I'm starting to get a little bit bored of the antics all the way through his fights. He's fighting, Daz, in my opinion, he's not even fighting the standard of fighting he was fighting at amateur. He don't need to be fighting this level. It's ridiculous. He needs to be nowhere near it. I mean, he's throwing punches looking in the crowd the other night. Can you be any more disrespectful than that?
Yeah, you could probably talk about your opponent's mum. I mean, that's probably the only way you could do it. Listen, I don't like it, mate. I don't like it. I think it's unnecessary. He's very talented.
Extremely.
He's very, very talented. I like the kid a lot as a fighter, but I think as a person in the ring, as a person, I think he's a bit of a prat. It just seems like, listen, it's been done before. Naz did it.
Yeah.
You know, Naz did it and backed it up. Nah, I'm not saying Ben's not going to back it up, but is he going to be? Let's be fair, right? Naz did that. Naz did all them antics. Never took his eyes off a fighter when he were in range and threw punches. But Naz did his antics against world-class fighters as well.
Yeah.
Right? Could Ben do that against Callum Smith, against Bivol, against Katerbiev, any of them? You know,
Niall O'Connor's hit the nail on the head. And that's the whole point of our show. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So he's put, I hope he gets KO'd, lads. He's an embarrassment and massively disrespectful against that standard of opponent. That's kind of my point. The last bit, it's very disrespectful against the standard of opponent that he shouldn't be in there with in the first place.
I mean, the thing is as well. We're going back to Naz. I mean, Naz for like you people like Miguel Matthews, Sean Normans, you know, you cornerstone of, you know, boxing journeyman. But yeah, he was disrespectful and he got frowned upon. But I don't know, mate. It just seems like it's, do you know, once it's been done, it then seems like a cheap copy. And it's like, you know, and the sad thing is that when Ben got down to business, it took the kid clean out.
Yeah.
Well, you're never going to see a better step back, right hand, left hook combination in your life.
It took. I think that's a bit generous, Andy. But
no, it's not, mate. It was absolutely perfect, mate.
Yeah,
I know it's against the level of opponents it is.
Yeah,
if he does that against world level, then everyone's going to be wet in the pants.
Yeah, but the thing is when he concentrates and I don't even call it concentrate. When he's, I mean, he suddenly went from acting like an absolute clown to then doing that. Did he get a sense that, well, hang on, I'm probably going too far here?
He was getting some booze off the crowd, does.
You know what I mean? It's naughty, mate. And do you know what?
Nightmare for Sugar Hill as well. It must be an absolute nightmare.
You what, mate?
It must be a nightmare for Sugar Hill is training.
No, I think he condones that, mate.
Well then, you know,
listen. What do you think, right? What do you think could have happened? I'm just going to use myself as an example, right? So you two know me as a trainer and as a friend, right? Let's say I trained Ben Whittaker and he did that in a fight and come back. What do you think I'd have said?
You'd slaughter him in the corner.
Do you know what I mean? I listen. I'd be fucking basically saying to him, excuse my French. I'd be basically saying to him, do that again, and this is our last fight together. I don't care how much you pay me. And I mean that. You know, you don't disrespect people. You know what I mean?
I'm all for PR. I'm all for a bit of pantomime before the fight. If you need to say
$1,000,000%, mate. $1,000,000%. Listen, talk as much rubbish within reason as you want. You know, don't go insulting people's families and you know, overstep the mark. But talk as much rubbish as you want. But after the fight, you know. Well, listen, during the fight, it's a serious business.
Yeah.
You know, you don't be looking at crowd and throwing punches. Do you know what I mean? It's naughty. It is very, very naughty.
And he'll come a cropper as well. He'll come a cropper.
Well, he will against, you know, some better level opposition. However, will he do that?
No.
At higher level. But
he might do it at the very start of a round.
Well, it'll make him look even sillier because Naz did it all the way through, didn't let's have it right. You know, what are people going to say if Ben Whittaker all of a sudden stops doing it? They go, hold on a minute. If that makes it look even worse.
Yeah, why did you do it against people with losing records and then as soon as you step up, I'm not doing it now?
He's almost made a rod for his own back a little bit going down this Marmite route. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't like it.
No. As a fighter, listen, he's very impressive, but you know, I think. Listen, at the end of the day, mate, are we surprised Sugar Hill tolerates it? He trains Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You know what I mean? It's
like you say though, for a trainer, he obviously knows the serious side. He sees it all the time in the gym. I'm absolutely sure. What it does is it brings eyes to Ben Whittaker, so it's going to bring eyes to Sugar Hill. That's how he's going to look at it.
Yeah, I get that, mate. Yeah, I get that.
Sugar Hill don't need no more exposure, do they? He trained Tyson Fury to destroy Wilder.
Yeah. I mean,
Ben Whittaker is nothing to Sugar Hill, is it?
Listen,
not at the minute, mate.
Do it right. Turn Ben Whittaker into a world champion and get your exposure that way.
Yeah. Okay, lads, moving swiftly on. Michael Mickinson in I don't mean to be disrespectful, but an absolutely pointless fight. He won a unanimous decision points against Musa Lawson. Scorecards read 100 to 90 times 2 and 90, 90, 91. What was the point of this fight?
If there's ever been an undermotivated fighter, there you have one.
What is the point, mate?
I didn't even know he'd fought.
His career's drifting, isn't it? You know, he's going across promoters. His career's just drifting. And he's a damn good fighter as well.
I feel for him, though, you know, because I think he'll fight anybody. And in my opinion, he's at least fringe world level.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But he's not being given the opportunities to show that because nobody wants it. He's one of those fighters that what's he bringing to the table? He's too dangerous. What's he bring to the table for anybody?
Yeah,
it's a tough one for him, but something's got to change, mate, because he's becoming the forgotten man, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't pronounce the name of the comment, but I'll read it out. He's from Pompey, so they get him on Bournemouth shows. He hasn't got knockout power that sells tickets.
He don't need knockout power. His boxing talks for him.
He's slick. He's
a very, very good fighter, and he's only got beat by the best. So I don't know. When you're a fighter like that, you need your promoter to. When we've gone through the bench lump thing, so we don't need to go down that route again. But you need your promoter to back you, and he don't seem to be getting that. Now, if he's not,
my understanding is he's on a fight-by-fight deal with boxer, which doesn't help either. They're not gonna
invest, are they, Carl? If he's not gonna sign to a longer-term contract, and if he's not a massive ticket seller, that's another thing that goes against him a little bit.
So the name that I can't pronounce says, could he fight Ben, same weight class? He's been calling Ben out for ages.
He has, and that won't happen for the reason I've just spoke about. What does he bring to the table? He's too dangerous. It's not going to happen. Okay, I don't really know what else to say on that one, to be honest. Let's move on to the headliner. I know you've got quite a bit to say on this, Carl, and I think your opinion is going to differ quite a lot to mine. Chris Billam-Smith against Masterneck. Billam-Smith wins with a stoppage at the end of the 7th round. Masterneck didn't get off his stool for the 8th. Carl, break the fight down for me.
I made it very easy. So I think Billam-Smith had a touch here with a washed-up old fighter who gave it his all and then just quit in the 8th. I know he had a rib injury, supposedly. I was underwhelmed by Billam-Smith. He's very lucky he's in a poor weight class because he wouldn't win a world title in any other weight class. So I hope I'm not sitting on the fence here, but sooner they get him in with Rapport, the better, because nobody cares about the weight class. And it's boring, to be honest with you. So that was my assumption of the fight. I find it boring.
Don't not back Woo, Carl.
No, that's my opinion. It's what we're here to do, innit?
Daz, what's your opinion on the fight?
Yeah, I found it very underwhelming. It's hard not to like Chris Billam-Smith as a person.
Yeah, he's a great lad.
But I think we do have to be a bit honest that, you know, he goes in with Rapport, he pretty much gets beat. He's not the greatest of world champions. But, you know, listen, good luck to that lad. He's only doing what he's, you know, what he can do. But I think the first proper live opponent he has, I think he's coming unstuck.
So here's my 2 pence worth. I think it was always the game plan to make Masterneck work. It was always a game plan to let him punch himself out and then for Chris Billam-Smith to go to work, and that's exactly what he did. Now, did he box as well as he has in the past? No. Did he move his head? No. Did he get it too much? Absolutely. His jab wasn't there. But I think he felt the power early on and wasn't worried about it and was happy to walk through to make Masterneck work. And the telling thing for me was at the end of either the end of the first round or the end of the second round, Shane McGuigan turned around and says, just let him punch himself out. So it's clearly the game plan. It was clearly the game plan. They must have had a conversation about what the power was like. Clearly, Chris Billam-Smith was not worried about the power. He didn't get buzzed once, even though he was getting it a lot.
Surely, whether your opponent can punch or not,
you don't want to get it.
To get it,
I've said that, don't I? He got it way too much. He didn't move his head.
Yeah, to get it and allow yourself to get it, he's crazy.
He definitely like the comment in the sidebar. He definitely underperformed, but he did what he was there to do, mate. If that had gone another round, then he would have stopped Masterneck with a body shot because he was done. He was done. So if that was the game plan, then it worked.
God, no, I was agreeing with me.
He needs to. But I'll say this. Right. He needs to improve against Rapport. The first time they fought was a close-ish fight. If you look at the two fighters since that fight, you can argue that Chris Billam-Smith's been much more active. He's improved more. The problem with Rapport is, can anyone name a convincing performance since against a good level opponent?
I get what you're saying, but I do think Rapport's a lot better than Chris Billam-Smith.
Mate, I've always said Rapport's the best cruiserweight in the country.
He was licking his lips at ringside on Sunday night.
And he's mandatory, so that fight's got to happen. If it don't happen next, it'll happen the fight after that. I'm a little bit concerned about Riakporhe though, because he doesn't fight enough, and when he does fight, he's fighting on undercards in Telford. How's that any sort of?
Oh, this is his chance, isn't it? This is his chance. V. Billum Smith.
Yeah. This
is a chance to change that.
He has devastating power as well, Riakporhe. Be interesting to see how Chris Billum Smith takes them, won't it?
Yeah, I don't think he can.
He's going to be.
I think he's very limited. I think Billum Smith's limited. That's the word I'd use. I don't buy into the bit Yandy where he's saying he's improved. I think he's just been fighting fighters that is above them in level.
Of course, he's improved. He's world champion, mate.
Yeah, the poor division.
It doesn't matter, does it? You can only beat who's in front of you. He's beat a Lawrence Okoli that everyone was banging on about a year ago.
I just think he's such a poor division. He wouldn't win a world title in any other division. I just think he's limited.
He don't need to, does it? Because he's a cruiserweight.
I'm just saying, no, he's limited, and he's boring, and I just don't rate him. I think Okoli will smash him.
What are you on about? What do you mean Okoli? He's beat Okoli.
If Okoli gets hold of him again, he will smash him.
No, he won't, because Okoli don't know what to do with him.
And Riakporhe will absolutely smash him.
Well, that's the interesting one, isn't it? And that's the one we all want to see, just to see what happens.
I'll go as far as say Riakporhe will bust him up. Someone's going to hurt Billum Smith. I think he's going to get busted up at that weight. He gets hit far too much.
He's very tough, though. He's very tough. He takes too many shots, and that needs to be worked on for certain. But you can only beat who's in front of you, and he's done that. So no one thought he was going to beat Okoli, but he proved everybody wrong.
So in the sideboard, Chris Billum Smith underperformed, no head movement or any footwork. He took Master Next punishment because he has a great chin, bit strong, and he won when he was fighting badly. He has to fight much better against Riakporhe. Niall says, which I agree with Carl, it's a weak division. I would say he's fringe world level. And then the name that I can't pronounce says, I pray we don't see the Okoli rematch. Well, that's contracted, so it's going to happen sooner or later.
It's awful, that fight. Absolutely awful. Okoli needs to sit in front of a mirror and have a word with himself, because his career's going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, another one whose career's in limbo.
Yeah, but he's done that to himself, Carl.
Well, he can't settle down with a trainer for starters, can he?
Anyway, moving on to the Devin Haney against Prograis fight from last weekend. We'll make this one very quick, lads. Conscious that everyone's wanting to talk about Bam and Sonny. We're going to get onto that, guys, in the sidebar very shortly. But if you want to change the caption, mate.
Yep.
So there's only two fights I want to talk about on this card, so we'll get straight into it. Mayo Yoshida beat Ebony Bridges on a unanimous points decision, taking Bridges' IBF bantamweight title. Scorecards read 99-91 times 2 and 97-93. Daz, I'll come to you first. I know you was quite strong in your opinions of how you thought the fight was going to go prior to the fight, same as me. We had the same opinion. Break down what you think went wrong for Ebony Bridges.
I think she just boxed in a style that wasn't her. Listen, I've said it to you on phone. I think that Dave Caldwell's tried to change too much. She come out and she was pouring with a jab. And it was like, right. But then when they got close, Ebony was initiating the holding. And it was like, what's going off? I mean,
that's where she does all the work in close, isn't it?
Well, I don't for the life of me understand why she wasn't, tight guard, moving her head side to side, inching in with every roll movement, and then letting her hands go inside, using her attributes. She's strong, powerful. and it seemed to me like she was caught in between what to do. You know, she got hit more than I've seen in previous fights, and I mean, she was literally rolling under punches, and she was looking at the floor. You know,
I thought it was a very, very poor performance.
Mate, it was shocking. It was shocking.
I thought she was caught between styles. Remember, her opponent took this at late notice as well, so props to her opponent. Who I believe is normally an MMA fighter. Would that be fair to say?
No. She was a super bantamweight world champion in boxing,
super
mate.
Flyweight. She was
super flyweight.
She was coming off.
I just thought she looked caught between styles to me, and very, very poor performance.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying there. The year layoff hasn't helped. The injury hasn't helped. And then obviously the change of trainer while she's been injured and while she's had that year layoff clearly hasn't helped because she's the aggressive style, working on the inside, throwing the big shots. None of that was there. I got the impression she was trying to counter Daz. She was waiting for Mayo to throw a shot before she threw her own. That's not Ebony Bridges. That's not the style that Ebony Bridges has fought with.
I don't, mate. Honestly, listen. Let's be totally honest as well. Yoshida was coming off a loss as well.
Yeah.
To Sharetta Metcalf, I think. And you know. Listen, she was made for Ebony. You know, she was made for her. Style was made for her. That's why she was chosen.
Yeah. It was just Yoshida's cup final, though, Daz, wasn't it?
You know what, mate?
It was her cup final, wasn't it?
It were. But listen, she should never, you know, mate, I just think a lot of things went wrong on the night. I totally agree with Carl. She was caught between styles. I would have personally been sending her out from 7 because I thought she'd literally lost every round. I'd have been sending her out in 7th and saying, listen, you need to stop her. So you just need to put it all online. Yeah. I truly believe that the Ebony that fought Shannon Courtney and Shannon O'Connell would have dealt with this girl maybe inside the distance.
Yeah.
But you know, she's not a fancy damn boxer, and that's what. Listen, I'm not saying she's not got skills because she has. She can move her head and stuff like that, but she plays to her attributes, and her attributes are she's strong, she's powerful. You know what I mean? And she's tough, but she sort of negated them herself. The opponent didn't have to negate all that; she did it herself.
So little comment in the sidebar, and I'll let you reply to it. Niall O'Connor, Yoshida is the better boxer, and she showed that quite clearly.
Yeah, I think Ebony was that poor that Yoshida did come across as the better boxer, but I don't think Yoshida's anything to write home about. It's a nice story about we being a mum and stuff like that, but I think we can all plainly see that Ebony wasn't herself.
Yeah.
Now, for whatever reason, is only Ebony knows. But credit to Yoshida, she got the opportunity. She did her best, and it was good enough. Yeah. So fair play to her. But I think secretly Ebony will be kicking herself because that scuppered some really, really big paydays and some really big fights.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what she does next, Daz, and what her next move is. I know you'll be watching with intrigue, and I will as well. So swiftly moving on to the main fight of the night. I want to say this was a shock, but
sorry, Andy, can I just pick that up before you go on about Annie? Niall's just put Ebony didn't look like she was in the shape that she usually is. That's absolutely spot on, Niall. That's absolutely spot on because I thought that as well. And Ebony seemed to be absolutely shattered, from 6th round onwards. So, good shout that, mate. I totally agree with that. For whatever reason, I don't know, but yeah, totally agree with that, mate.
Okay. So moving on, Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. We all had different opinions about how we thought this fight was going to go last week when we were talking about it. I don't think any of us expected a 12-round shutout like we got.
I think you'll find out at a wide point decision.
You did say win on points. I said he'd win on points. You didn't think he was going to win all 12 rounds, though, did you, Carl?
No, I said wide.
I did say I thought Haney were going to stop him late, personally.
I said wide points.
He just showed his absolute class, didn't it? And what he's all about. The guy's 24 years old, a 2-weight world champion. I mean, it seemed when you looked at him last year or the year before, if someone was to turn around and say to you, he could be fighting Terence Crawford in a year.
To be fair, though, I've been saying I rated Haney for a while.
No, you have. Yeah. Granted. I think
he's absolute class.
I thought
Conor Benn needs to keep his name out of his mouth, because I'm telling you, don't want any of it.
I thought Regis Prograis. I mean,
you couldn't work the puzzle out, could he?
Well, I mean, everyone's been going on about Regis Prograis is the best at 140. He pushed a very good Josh Taylor to the limit, and then Haney stepped up weight and just dealt with him like he wasn't world level. I mean,
it don't mean he's not, though. It just means
it just means that Haney's exceptionally. He's an exceptional fighter, mate.
It's a bit like the Deontay Wilder situation with Tyson Fury when they fought. It doesn't mean he's not world class. It just means that Tyson Fury is just elite. And just it's got the key to the treasure chest. I think Haney does that to anybody in and around his weight class. I can't think of anyone who's going to give this kid problems.
Does?
No, I've said he's the best out of them all. He's top draw, mate. Top draw, like Andy said. But Carl said, but I hope that Conor Benn don't keep him out his mouth, and I hope he does fight him.
That would be, yeah.
So apparently that was the other rounds on Twitter a bit ago. Apparently, it's being reported, don't know how true it is, that Devin Haney's already spoken to Eddie Hearn about a Conor Benn fight. Why? I don't know why Devin Haney would feel the need to do that, but
money. I don't know. Conor Benn, it'd have to be in America at the minute, wouldn't it? And Conor Benn hasn't got really a profile in America. It depends what.
Yeah, so exactly. So what would be the point?
Depends what DAZN are going to pay him.
I mean, the only fighter, in my opinion, that gives him a real fight. And
we'll leave that one with you.
Shakur Stevenson really is the only one I can think of.
That's a damn good fight.
He asks questions, Shakur Stevenson, because they're similar fighters in a lot of ways.
It'd be very technical, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That's a real good fight. I think Tank's made for him. I think he'll deal with Tank all night long. It may be a thing, Carl, where he deals with a few more people and then he has to move up again. But then you start getting into the realms of when do you get to the point where the division's too big?
Didn't he walk in on Saturday at about 160, supposedly? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, it's all right rehydrating to that.
I think he's a generational talent.
He is. No, he is. Don't get me wrong. It's okay rehydrating to 160 middleweight, right? But when you're starting off at that point and you're rehydrating past that, and you're also a generational talent in Terence Crawford, I'm thinking of here. That makes a massive difference, don't it?
Who do you think could win at 147?
It's a good fight.
It is a good fight. It's a very good fight, and it wouldn't be one-sided. But Terence Crawford's just too big and too strong. I think this is why I'm saying, at what point is it one weight too many against a lot of people at 147? He'd deal with them.
I'd still go Devin Haney.
They'd be close. They'd be close fights. They'd be close fights, but he'd deal with them a lot. Almost all of that division, in fact. But Terence Crawford's another level.
I mean, I don't know about that.
I think Haney will beat him.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Crawford's come from super featherweight.
Yeah, but he's had time to build himself into that and fit into that weight class. Anti-does.
Crawford's about 36, 37.
Yeah, Haney's a lot fresher.
Of course he is. Yeah.
I get what you're saying, Andy, about building into the weight. That's a valid point, but it all depends on the genetics and the body. And listen, Haney might go up, have one fight at 147 and fit into it, like a jigsaw piece, or he might go up and not fit into it straight away. It's on the individual, isn't it?
You might have just answered the question about Conor Benn. Maybe he's calling out Conor Benn, knowing the fight's easy to make, thinking, I'll move up to 147. I'll see what I'm like at the weight against somebody that has a bit of a name for himself, that's caused a bit of controversy, that isn't and hasn't proved himself at world level yet. And then see how I fit at the weight before I'm going against the big boys.
I mean, we've also got a certain Mr. Ennis as well.
Yeah,
knocking around.
And nobody wants him to
he's the king. He's the king in waiting, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
nobody wants him, do they?
No, I mean, he's like, listen, he could. I think Jaron Ennis is going to go one or two ways. He's going to either become the biggest flop in boxing, whereas we thought he's going to end up, as one at best of his generation, or it's going to be what the bloody hell happened to him. And either way, to find out, it's going to be an exciting ride, because I think I'm chucking my hat that kid is going to be, talked about in years to come.
The thing is, he's got a fight to be talked about in years to come, Daz.
Yeah.
And he's not fighting nobody.
Yeah, but, no one wants to get in with him, do
they? I hear what you're saying, right? But he's been sat at a very high level in the rankings for a very long time. And he's not taking those world title shots.
But what's he turned down?
Where he turned down the Avanesian fight for one.
I mean, I don't really, I can't see that.
Speak to Neil Marsh, mate. He'll tell you.
Well, he manages him.
He's not going to lie, though.
Well, what would he be first manager in history to lie?
He don't work like that, mate.
Listen, mate. I know a lot of managers, and I know a lot of promoters who and everyone's capable.
Let's be honest, there's more facets than just saying yes or no. The money might not have been right. They might.
Well, so that was going to be my next point: is he pricing himself out of fights?
Who knows? That's the thing. Do you know?
Or was the donut on the table for Ennis to take it? There might not have been enough dough on the table.
Do you know, like talking about when not just us guys, but like when people talk about he turned down the fight with so and so, he turned down the fight with so and so. I don't like discussing things like that because we don't know.
No,
unless somebody comes directly, you see it directly together and say, "I don't want to fight him." If you're not going to,
we also don't know. Yeah, but we also don't know. I know we all think it, and it's probably true, but we also don't know that everybody's avoiding it.
No, well, I mean, didn't Crawford give up his IBF title?
Don't know.
I'm sure Crawford's getting up the IBF title because he said it didn't make sense to fight Ennis at this point when there was a potential Canelo fight on horizon. So that to me says that I'm not saying that Crawford's scared of him, but that says that it's like, well, it's it's dangerous at this point. What's the point? Crawford's coming to the end of his career.
Not there, does it? Money
No.
makes fights.
Crawford's coming to the end of his career, isn't he? Crawford wants that, listen, let's probably have a couple more for as big a bucks as that we can have. So, which is fair play to him. Can't fault him. Can't fault him. And he's obviously said, I think he's paid Jaron Ennis a lot of respect. He says he's, his plans are to make the most money in the next couple of fights and get out of boxing. And, Jaron Ennis probably doesn't generate the money, but he's very, very dangerous.
I draw parallels with Lee Wood. Lee Wood wants the biggest fight. The opponent in that opposite corner at City Ground needs to be the one who generates the most money.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So,
definitely.
it's no fairy tale about this fight or that fight. Whoever makes the most commercial sense will be in that opposite corner.
Yeah, definitely.
The prize fighters.
Yeah.
Right, lads. I think we need to move on swiftly. Because there's quite a few. Excuse me. There's quite a few fights on this card over in Arizona at the weekend. Obviously, talking about Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards. So let's talk a little bit about the undercard, because, like I was saying earlier on, this is all UK versus US, which makes it quite interesting. So let's start with Joe McGrail, who's in a featherweight contest, 8-rounder, against Edgar Ortiz Jr. Now, obviously, unless you're a bit of a connoisseur of American boxing, you perhaps not know some of these names and what the level is. But to give a little bit of context, obviously the McGrails have got absolute class written all over them. Joe McGrail sat at 7-0, and his opponent Ortiz Jr. sat 8-4-2. This is a big welcome to the American market for the UK fighters on this card, isn't it?
Opportunity.
Absolutely. What do you think of the McGrails, Daz?
Yeah, good fighters, mate. Very good. I'm not overly excited by him, if I'm honest. But yeah, they're good, very good. But I'm the proofs when they fight people who want to win, innit? Let's see what happens then. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, Galal Yafai's in what looks like on paper quite a tough fight. He's obviously sat at 5-0, world at his feet. He's going in for a WBC international flyweight title against Rocco Santamoro, I think his name is pronounced, with quite a bit of experience, 22-2, with only 6 knockouts though, so he's not a big puncher. Galal's the real deal, right?
Yeah. I think this is an introduction to the American market. I think this is Matchroom raising the profile of their young British talent in the States.
I agree.
It's interesting that he's on undercard of Sonny as well, because that's been talked about, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be one for a couple of years down the line when Sonny Edwards has dealt with everybody in the division and there's no one left for him to fight. He's going to need paying a lot of money, Sonny Edwards, to fight Galal Yafai, though, because why would you at this point?
Yeah, I think he's got eyes on bigger prizes at the minute.
He has. Okay, this one's really interesting because these two look like they can both punch, and that's Junaid Bostain he's going in against Gordy Russ II. So Junaid's currently sat at 7-0 with 6 KOs. The only fight that went the distance is obviously Ryan Amos. And Gordy Russ II is 6-0 with 6 KOs. This is an 8-rounder, obviously in the super welterweight division. Everyone's getting very excited about Junaid Bostain and what he brings to the table. He's a big, strong super welterweight. I mean, you're looking at the punch record, the knockout record. Sorry, of these two fighters. Is this a shootout, Daz?
No, I don't think it's a shootout because I think Junaid's a bit, going to be a bit too clever for that. Listen, I don't know anything about this guy, this Gordy.
No, me either.
He sounds like a Motown producer, to be fair. I'm a bit dubious on the caliber of people he's knocked out, if I'm honest. But you still have to put people away.
Yep.
Now the interesting question is going to be: Ryan Amos landed punches on Junaid. What happens if this kid lands punches on Junaid? It's a little bit of an interesting one, but I sort of think that they're not going to chuck Junaid in at 7-0 with anyone who's going to have a major chance of beating him. Maybe someone with a slight chance if he gets careless and silly. So that enables him to, make sure he stays disciplined. So I can only see a Junaid win personally. Probably Junaid gets another stoppage, and it looks very good against the 6-0 with 6 KOs fighter. But I think, we'll probably see from first bell that it was a good piece of matchmaking.
Yeah. Anything to add on that, Cole?
Yeah, I like Bostain. I think he's done everything that he was supposed to do. He's very good outside of him, very marketable, and quite a nice kid when you interview him, to be honest with you, behind all that brass bravado. It looks good on paper, don't it, like Dad said, because the kid's coming in 6-0, but we don't know what the level that's at, in all honesty. I agree with Dad. I'd be surprised Matchroom are jeopardising this rising star that they've got in their ranks. So again, it's a good opportunity for him to get in front of an American crowd, and he's a bit flamboyant in Ted, so you can put a bit of a show on.
Absolutely. I agree. I like Bostain. He comes across really well in interviews. Still very humble. Yeah, he could be a massive star if he's handled the right way. Okay, moving on. Peter McGrail is in a 10-rounder super bantamweight against Jarico O'Quinn. O'Quinn is sat at 16-1-1 with 8 KOs, and obviously McGrail's currently unbeaten 8-0. Again, is one that everyone thinks is going places.
He's a real deal for me, Peter McGrail.
Yeah. I agree. I think he's the best of the McGrails. No offense to Joe and all that, but he looks sensational at times. And this is, again, I think it's another one call. They're showing the English talent to the American market. Okay, yeah. Swiftly moving on then, lads, to the fight that we've all been wanting to see for a very long time. Jesse Bam Rodriguez puts his WBO flyweight title on the line against Sonny Edwards' IBF title. Sensational fight. Obviously, both of them are undefeated. Both of them are great world champions. I saw a post from a certain panelist earlier on, either today or yesterday, saying, was there any more certain a winner than Sonny Edwards in this fight? Was it your put?
Yeah. Listen, I believe my post was there any more certain a bet than Sonny Edwards' unanimous decision?
Carl, what's your response to that?
Well, I think just talk about the build-up briefly. I quite like the way Bam Rodriguez hasn't played Sonny Edwards' tune. Sonny Edwards is wanting to be doing more for the promotion, talking more, in interviews, and he's just said, no, this is the way I play my build-up. I ain't changing it for you. And I think Sonny Edwards has seemed to be. I know he likes to play this. I'm a cool fella. I'm in the pool in wherever he was, Orlando, Miami. I think Rodriguez has got under his skin a little bit. That's my impression. Although I still think Sonny Edwards is going to beat him. I still think he's going to beat him on points. But you got to remember, Sonny Edwards was in the wilderness for a long, long time. Floating between this promoter, that promoter, not getting the big fights, frustration. So, as an Englishman, I hope he goes and does the business. I think he will, because he deserves his time in the limelight. Because I truly believe he's the best in the weight division. But I've just seen little things in interviews where I think something tells me you might be a bit more frustrated than you have been in previous fights. And remember, this is his biggest fight of his career by far.
I think it's fair to say that he's a bit more on edge for this fight than you've seen him. A bit more spiky than you've seen him in previous fights, because there's so much more importance on this fight. It's definitely the biggest fight of his career, of course.
But what a job Eddie Hearn's done, by the way. What a job Eddie Hearn's done. He promised to get him in the big fights.
Yeah.
Let's have it right, which other promoters couldn't do.
Yeah, they couldn't. You're right. It's for me, it's a tale of two things here. Is Rodriguez still the same fighter after his injury? And is he capable of landing on a very, very elusive Sonny Edwards? And the answer for me is, I don't think he's going to land anything significant. Sonny Edwards is way, 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 way too slick. Too slick, too quick. And don't get me wrong, Bam Rodriguez is probably the second best fighter in the world. But I think Sonny Edwards is going to show that there's another level to the flyweight division, and he's got it. He's got it written all over him that he's the man. I don't see, like you put in your post, as I can't see anything else other than a unanimous points decision. I don't think it'll be a shutout by any means. There'll be a lot of close rounds, because there always is at this level, at this weight. There'll be lots and lots of punches thrown, and there'll be some rounds that will be difficult to judge. But I think Sonny Edwards will do what he needs to do.
Controversial decision?
No, I don't think so. I doubt that. Sonny Edwards will win rounds that he wins clear enough for the judges not to be able to do that to him.
And it's a matchroom show. Let's have it.
He's also, but
it's a matchroom show.
He's also not stupid, Daz. He was there for Sandy Ryan's fight. He knows that you don't get decisions in America in certain places. He knows he's got to do more than enough to get the points decision. That'll probably make him sharper than he's ever been, because he's not daft. He's a very clever fighter, Sonny Edwards. For all of his bravado on Twitter and other social media, he's a
student of the game. That's what he is.
He is. He is switched on as well. And I don't think I go as far as to say he's maybe the most naturally gifted fighter of his generation. So yeah, I think I know where this is going, but let's have a quick round robin. I'm going Sonny Edwards, unanimous.
Yeah, snap.
Yeah, Sonny Edwards in a that good a performance, it's almost boring. I think he just dominates.
So lads, we have one more topic for the night, and it's basically boxing news. It's probably the best way to put it. So the first one I want to talk about is, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a sparring clip put on social media this week of Clarissa Shields getting laid out by an average fighter over in the States. That's gone viral, obviously, and she's since come out. Have you seen the response to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's saying that this guy took all the padding out of his gloves, and she went out.
Were the gloves donated by Roberto Duran? Is it in that what she said?
He's saying so, and he's saying that the reason he didn't want to show them to her is because they meant too much to him, and he put them straight in his bag. Blah 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 blah. So you're really on one side of it, aren't you? She also said she went out to her car and got a knife because she wanted to slash him or cut him or whatever she said. Firstly, she's clearly angry, right? Maybe embarrassed because she got put on her arse. But no matter what, angry or embarrassed, you can't be going on social media and telling the world, firstly, that you carry a knife in your car, and secondly, you're going to slash somebody with it when you're, as she puts it, the goat of female boxing.
Let's listen. Let's call her for what she is. Right? She's a damn good fighter, but she's an absolute pillock. Do you know what I mean? She's a good fighter.
The state of knife crime in the US and UK, and she's coming out with lines like that.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
I don't think she's the greatest woman boxer of all time, but she's a very, very damn good boxer.
Yeah,
but she's a classless pillock. To be
fair,
fair,
she doesn't think half the time before she speaks.
No, I think she does. That's a scary thing. I think that's just her. That's just how she is. I think she's just got no class. She's just a very, very, I don't know what the word would be, to be fair. I mean, listen, I don't for 1 minute condone violence against women by men, right? But I've seen videos of her sparring, and in that clip where she gets dropped, I'll stand and argue this with anybody. She threw a right hand with venom at that kid, right? It missed. He threw a right hand as well. She threw a right hand with venom, right? That left hook he caught her with, he didn't wind it up.
No.
It would just her chin were up. She was all out of shape. She threw a wild right hand, missed, and she just got clipped on chin. He didn't wind that shot up. It was just timed, and it was partly because it was timed, and her sloppiness is why she went on her ass.
But it does. I mean, and this might not come down across very well. She put herself in that position.
Well, listen, I don't. I'm probably going to get the suffragette brigade on me here, but women shouldn't be sparring men. I just don't see what can be gained by it. I really don't. I just don't. Listen, there's no way I'd let Nick spar Sonny Edwards.
No,
because listen. Let's be fair. Sonny Edwards has got feather face, but he's still a man.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And as much as what I totally appreciate women's boxing and everything, it's just not great. It's not on.
I mean, it wasn't too long ago. It wasn't too long ago. She was calling out Keith Thurman.
Oh, mate! I mean, can you imagine? Imagine if that were Keith Thurman's left hook on end at chin.
Crazy.
She'd still be asleep now.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's dangerous.
Listen, I just think that listen, like I said, I admire the woman as a fighter, but I just think she's an absolute prat, if I'm honest. I really do.
I mean, surely you've got to be looking at a coach here. Why is he allowing that sort of thing to be going on?
Well, I've seen a few videos of her sparring men, and they've shown them where she's rocked a couple of sparring partners. But she proper winds shots up and goes for it. Now, I just don't listen. Take the debate out of it. Don't let it happen in the first place, because if you don't spar men, it doesn't happen. We're not talking about this.
Let's get a little bit of context here, though, guys. She isn't the only female fighter in boxing to spar blokes.
No, and I don't agree with them doing it either.
No. But I just wanted to get the context in there.
Yeah.
There's lots of quite high-profile female fighters that spar men, especially gym mates. You know, maybe they're tick overs, and I'm sure they don't wind shots up like she was winding shots up. You know, it's probably more fitness and body sparring than anything.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think, you know, I don't know, mate. I don't know. She's just very. She's not my cup of tea. If
it's just a very bad look, isn't it? I mean, I think her rant was more embarrassment, and she was trying to cover an embarrassment up. She must have felt embarrassed that sparring got leaked and she was put on a butt. It's just not a good look all round.
No. I've got no comment on it, to be honest with you, because I think poor etiquette to let the footage get leaked for one, really, and then poor etiquette for the response that she's come out with.
Absolutely.
I mean, saying that the kid took padding out. Well, she said that he took padding out his gloves because she'd battered him a few days previous. I mean, I doubt it. I don't believe for 1 minute that he's took padding out his gloves. I really don't.
And you've only got one side of it, and she's come out and she's got the big voice, so everyone's gonna fall for it, or a lot of people are gonna fall for it, whether it's true or not true.
There's a lot of people who have jumped on the bandwagon, who I'm quite disappointed in, to be fair. You know, who've jumped on the I love Clarissa Shields, let's string this guy up. She chose to put her headgear on and gloves and get in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, but okay, let's devil's advocate and all that. If he has taken padding out of his gloves, then he needs stringing up.
Yeah, but I don't believe for 1 minute he did.
Well, I mean, you know, that's your opinion, Daz, and we're never going to know, are we? We're never going to, unless somebody takes a photo of them gloves and puts them online and it's proved.
It was 5 years ago, the sparring. It was 5 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah. Now, are you telling me that with how she is, if he'd have took the padding out, would she not have done something about it,
or said something earlier about it?
Something earlier, straight away.
Yeah, I see. I wasn't aware of that. I thought that was.
No, about 5 years, 2018, I think.
Right. Okay.
And he said
that puts a different spin on it, don't it?
Yeah, his trainer's come out as well. Who she's named, Derek Santos, I think. And he said, you know, no padding took out of gloves. And they haven't even leaked the footage, he says, because we haven't even got the footage.
Right.
So, you know,
makes you wonder what the agenda is then.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, very interesting. And the timing of it coming out now.
The kid who put her on her backside fought Rolly Romero. And Rolly Romero stopped him. Rolly Romero came out on Twitter and said, I'm glad I knocked his punk ass out. And then Clarissa's gone on and said, I don't need you sticking up for me. I don't need you to do out for me. I'll come to your gym and put my hands on you. I mean, what's that all about?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's lost the plot, mate. She's a cretin. Absolute cretin.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've done that to death now, lads. Moving on to something that this goes beyond being circus for me, and takes exhibitions to a completely different level, and that is the talk of Tommy Fury fighting Roy Jones Jr.
How much money does this guy need, Tommy Fury?
Well, you've got to think about your morals a little bit here, Carl. Roy Jones Jr. is 30 years older than Tommy Fury, who was an absolute ring legend, and he doesn't need to be doing this sort of stuff. Tommy Fury's clearly in boxing for money, and that's fine. If that's the way he wants to go, that's up to him, mate. It's his career. If he wants to go and fight on exhibitions and he wants to go and fight against the misfits for easy money, very good easy money, by the way, that's completely up to him. This is just taking it one step too far, in my opinion. The problem is, Carl, that people are going to buy it.
Yeah, this is a step too far for me, to be honest. I've got no interest in watching this whatsoever. I mean, it's a crying shame that people like Roy Jones from that era have to still be doing things like this to earn a dollar. Let's be honest. You know, it's a shame, really. It's a shame.
Is he really that skint though, Carl? Come on.
I don't know his financial circumstances, but he ain't jumping in the ring for the love of it with Tommy Fury's. Let's be honest.
I mean,
I think it's a lot to do with Roy's ego as well. You know, can he let go? But listen, the man was one of the most close to unbeatable fighters of in his pre-cause I've ever seen.
Agreed.
You know, it was absolutely. Listen, I think I've said this to you guys before. Had Roy retired after he beat John Ruiz, we'd have been talking. Is he in top 10 all-time great?
Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would.
Is he in top 10 of the best ever?
Yeah, completely agree with you.
There must be a financial need, though, Daz. Let's have it right. Calling it as it is. For him to be considering something like this at his stage of his life, there's got to be some kind of financial need there.
Yeah, I mean, he did it with Mike Tyson, didn't he?
Did you see that though, Gaz? It was an absolute joke.
I didn't watch it. To be fair,
I didn't watch it at the time, but I've seen clips of it since. It was sad to watch. That's the best way I can put it. It was sad to watch.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I loved Roy Jones. I mean,
the thing for me.
I went as far as to buying same brand of shorts that he wore once in his career. Franklin ordered him from America.
Legacy, though, don't it? It affects his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been affecting his legacy ever since he moved back from heavyweight and lost to fighters who he would have basically toyed with one
Here's the thing for me, and this is the reason I detest this more than. I mean, you know how much I hate the Misfit stuff, and I detest this even more than the Misfit stuff, and I'll tell you for why. If this was Roy Jones Jr. against another legend, another Mike Tyson, even though that was dreadful, but it was against somebody around his age that was an absolute legend himself, and they were just doing this as a bit of an exhibition, and people that were interested in seeing that as an exhibition, knowing it's nothing, fine. You know, if you want to make a few quid fighting somebody of your generation, fine. The fact of the matter is, Tommy Fury is a live fighter. Whether whether he's fighting as on the Misfits shows or not, the guy's still a pro fighter.
I don't think it happens anyway. I think there'll be a bit of a backlash about this one. I don't think they'll ever step in the ring together.
I hope not. I hope it don't.
I don't think it will. It might be a clever PR strategy to get both to raise Tommy's profile again or whatever they've done it for.
Tommy Fury don't need his profile raising, mate.
So why? I don't endorse betting, and neither does the channel. But I'll have a bet with anyone that this fight never happens.
It might not do, but the fact that they're even talking about it, the fact that it's even got itself into a position where it's on social media and people are talking about it is horrendous. If Roy Jones wasn't thinking about this fight, why has he not come out and said this is ridiculous? Where's this come from? I'm not even considering this.
He might be part of the PR strategy. You don't harm his PR either, does it?
I don't know. But, I mean, Tommy Fury is nailed his flag to the mast, mate. He's got no interest in fighting pro fighters anymore. He's got no interest in chasing titles.
He said he's not interested in the pro.
Yeah, and that's fine. And that's fine. Like I've already said. You know, why would you? If you're Tommy Fury and you know you're only a certain level of fighter, and I'm not meaning to be disrespectful, if you know you're only a certain level of fighter and you're never going to reach the heights of your brother, why wouldn't you take easy money and go and fight these misfits that he's going to beat all day long?
He hasn't closed the door on the pro ranks, has he? So he said, he's going to finish this misfits gig and then move on to the pro ranks. That's what he said. He's never said he's never coming back to the. I agree. He's got he's limited. He's never said he ain't ever coming back. So I think he's just trying to cover all bases here. But it's a PR disaster for Tommy Fury, in my view, because people are scratching their heads, going, "Hold on a minute, but Roy Jones is our old. Why would you even step in the ring with him?"
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll happen.
So there was another one. There was another one I wanted to add on to this, but we've kind of already covered it, and that's the fact that that Devaney apparently's put a request in to fight Conor Ben.
Well, that's interesting as well, because Conor Ben's come out today on an interview and says he will be fighting end of January, early February. Now that won't be Aina and it won't be Eubank. So, you know, it's interesting. I still expect Ben to be out in February. So
who's it going to be? Daz, who do you think that'll be?
I don't really care.
Some average American fighter, I'd suggest.
Yeah. Listen, it might even be a fringe.
Kell Brook?
I hope not.
Not in America.
I hope not as well, but
don't do no numbers in America.
No, I think it'll be it maybe be listen, I wouldn't be surprised that I'm looking at a Keith Thurman.
Yeah, I think Thurman.
I wouldn't be surprised at that, because his ears on slide a bit.
Big name. Yeah.
Keith Thurman is still quite high in the rankings as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's only lost.
Note though, don't he? If Ern can pay him enough, he'll jump in with anyone.
Yeah, and listen, Thurman will probably look at Ben as easy meat. But I think his ears on slide. I don't think there's any two ways about that.
Well, Ugas. What about Ugas?
I'm not sure about that one.
Do you know what is quite an interesting fight? And this was a fight that was talked about a long time ago, and that's Josh Kelly and Conor Ben. So Conor Ben was trying to make a fight with Josh Kelly when Josh Kelly fought David Avanesian. There was a bit of a video put out there of Conor Ben going into the changing room after the fight and having a bit of a joke with Avanesian, saying you've ruined my plans or something.
Josh Kelly fights Saturday, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah,
he does, and obviously he's now moved up. He's now at super welter
on the zone as well.
I'll tell you, I'd like to see get a big fight. Florian Marco.
Yeah, gone a bit quiet, old Florian, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there was talk.
Yeah.
There were talk of him and Ben at one bit, weren't there?
See, here's the difficulty. It's going to be like you've already said, and I never thought about it until you said it. It's got to be an American, because he ain't fighting in the UK anytime soon.
Not at the minute, no.
Yeah, I think it'll be Thurman, me. I really do.
It's a very good fight for Ben. That
getting him at a nice time, isn't it?
He is getting him at a nice time. He's, and
like you said, Carl, he's still got a name, and
got a name, and he's still in the rankings quite highly, does as well. So that it keeps Ben in his position in the rankings, and then you take it from there, don't you? I mean, they're still going on about the Eubank fight getting made at some point or another. What's your feeling on why this has gone cold? Why do you think Eubank's stumbling on signing the contract?
He wants too much money, Eubank Jr. That's the truth of it. He wants too much money.
Is it just down to that, or do you think he's got a bit nervous about the British Boxing Board taking his license off him if he takes the fight?
I think it's money. Yeah.
You think it's just down to that, does?
Yeah. Listen, I don't want it to happen anyway.
No, I don't.
I think it's a joke. But yeah, it probably is. I mean, Eubank's about money, and he likes the pan, so
it's a mismatch on size as well. They do something to make it difficult for Eubank, or make it really, really hard for him to be at his strongest. I'm sure.
I think Eubank Jr. will fight Billy Joe Saunders before 2024's out.
Yeah, good shot.
Yeah, maybe. I heard something on social media the other day about him getting a shot at the IBO title again.
Yeah, I think he's declined it. Ante asked not to be made mandatory.
Has he? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay, fair enough. Well, he's done that for one or two reasons. Then again, maybe the money's not enough, but maybe something's finally switched in his head, and he might actually want to fight for a proper world title.
Yeah, I think he's won it. Yep.
And the last one, lads, and this one we could talk about till the cows come on, but we'll try and make it as short and sweet as we can. And that's the feud between Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor on social media. This seems to be rumbling on and on and on.
Well, I would call Taylor's bluff here, because he turned around now and said he would accept that matchroom offer. He calls it a derisory offer, don't he, to 80% less than what he earned in the first fight or something. So if I was Eddie Hearn, I'd get that contract drafted quickly and get under his nose, because that is a barnstorm of a fight. And I think it probably happens as well.
The thing is, it's dragged on that long now, mate. That
Taylor's got to fight him, right? He's got to fight him for his legacy's sake, because if he doesn't fight him, there's always that big question mark over his career. And people will forget anything else about his career apart from that night, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. I think whoever was advising Josh Taylor at the time advised him wrongly, because it was a PR disaster. It was a PR disaster, Carl. That in the ring after the fight, he said that was his last fight at 140. He was going up to 147, and then he waits a year and then decides he's going to fight again at 147, but it's not against Catterall. Sorry,
Dante scored a lot of own goals from a PR. He scored a lot of own goals from a PR perspective.
Yeah, it's not been great. It's not been great, and then you see the social media stuff that's going on between them, and although it's entertaining, some of it, I think, come on, lads, it's a bit playgroundish. This, you need to. I mean, obviously, there's lots of nerve there. There's lots of bad blood, and they have to fight just to quash that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced it ever happens, Carl. I'm not convinced it ever happens.
I don't think Josh Taylor can allow it not to happen, and Catterall understands that as well. That's why he buys his time, because I'm telling you, if he doesn't fight him, his legacy will be tarnished. Because let's have it right, everyone knows he didn't win that fight that night.
Yeah.
So he needs to jump in and right that wrong, or all his good work and his excellent career that he had is almost going down the toilet on that one bad night.
I think the thing is, I've got no grievance with Josh Taylor for the result. My grievance is that he didn't fight Catterall again straight away.
He didn't call the result. It's a referee, but he's still got to live with everyone, as in the boxing public, saying he didn't win that fight. And let's have it right, these fighters got big egos, haven't they?
Daz, let's come to you on this. You've not really said much on it.
No, because it's a bit like you said, it's playground stuff, isn't it?
Some of it is, yeah.
Just get the fight on. If you both want it that much, you'll come to some agreement.
And it's the biggest fight for them both as well, right? Let's have it right.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, Josh is coming off of two losses. Off a loss.
2 losses. Oh no, not 2 losses.
No, he's coming off a loss, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jack's, coming off obviously a win over Linares, which we all know, was a bit of a faded Linares. Let's just get it on. Let's just stop talking on Twitter and let's just do it. Like Cole said, if I were Eddie Hearn, I'd be drafting that up now. I'd be driving to his house and saying, "Yeah, his contract."
Yeah.
You know, call his bluff.
It's interesting, isn't it? I saw a tweet from him. It might have been a bit of tongue in cheek, but I saw a tweet from him saying that when someone mentioned that he'd fight Devin Haney was considering moving up and fighting Crawford. I saw a tweet from Josh Taylor saying that he'd jump in and fight him.
Oh God.
I mean that for me is there is only one winner in that fight, and that's Devin Haney right now.
I mean that there's only one winner in that. You know, every day at week and twice on a Sunday, and I don't care if it's the best Josh Taylor, the best version of Josh Taylor. Devin Haney still beats him.
I think that version's gone, Daz.
Yeah, it seems to have, mate, but I still don't think that version would have been enough to beat Haney.
No, I think Catterall took a bit of his soul that night. I don't think he's been the same fighter since.
No, definitely not.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see the way that kind of pans out. But like I say, I'm not convinced it ever happens. He's taken what is it? Is it 2 years since the first fight?
Coming up to it.
Not far off. Yeah, it's a long time. With all of the bad blood and everything that's gone off, it's a long time for this not to have happened. And the public have been crying out for it, and it's still not happened.
But the funny thing is, Catterall can't move on from it either. He's as bad as Josh Taylor, really.
Well, of course he can't, Carl, because he was ripped off.
All the marbles, I get all that. But he can't seem to draw on the line under it either, because you could argue that he should really. He's tried to get his fight, tried to get it. I'd probably, if you're Jamie Moore, you're probably saying to him, let's draw a line under it now and move on, because he doesn't want the fight.
Yeah.
You know, let's move on and create our own, like you said. But I just think there's that much bad blood between the two of them.
Yeah.
Like Dad says, he just needs to get it on and settle it.
It's got to be hard, hasn't it? From Catterall's point of view, it's got to be hard to move on from.
Well,
of course it's gone. Of course it's gone, and he's never gonna get that opportunity to fight for undisputed again. It looks like. Yeah, it's very tough on him. Very tough on him. You know, he's lost out. It's not just the fact that it was for undisputed. It's the millions and millions of pounds he's lost out. Lost out on being undisputed champion and being the man that can demand the money. You know, and he's kind of had to start again, which is it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, mate. We'll see. I just get this sneaky feeling that it's been going on for that long now. It's just never going to happen, and they'll become bitter old men that hate each other until the day they die.
Mm.
Maybe what happens with Khan and Brook. Maybe Ben Shalom can get it on when they both pass the best. Take all the plaudits for it. When, let's be honest, you could have put that fight together, Andy. And then maybe we do get the fight when they're both about 45.
Maybe.
One last payday.
Is there? So that's the last I've got from the boxing news. Any of you two got anything you want to bring up before we go, Daz?
No, mate. No, all good.
Carl?
No.
I'll let you bring the show to a close.
Okay. So, thank you for all the comments in the side. Very active tonight. Much appreciated. If you're watching this on replay, please feel free to post comments on what we've said. We go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you, Dad, for joining us as ever. Andy, thank you for hosting. This has been Last World Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Liftings Limited and SC Travel. Same time next week. Catch you later.